Welcome in to the Illini Inquirer podcast. It is Jeremy Werner live in Lincoln, Kyle Tausk back in Illinois. And for a second straight weekend, we are reacting to Illinois basketball going on the road in one of the toughest environments in the Big Ten and getting an emphatic season-changing win, 78-69 over Nebraska. Illinois down 7 early in the second half. Come back, outscore Nebraska 45-30 in the second half. Keaton Wagler, 23 of his 28 points in the second half. Hum for the Big Ten Freshman of the Year, and probably should get an honor beyond that we'll talk about here in a little bit. The front court was fantastic for Illinois, really punished Nebraska on the glass. The Ivicic twins combining for 19 points and 15 rebounds in this one. David Mirkovic, 10 points, 8 rebounds. Illinois owns the glass. They own the points in the paint. And Kyle, Brad Underwood has 3 road wins over top 5 opponents during his Illinois career. 2 of them have come over the last 8 days. Pretty good 10-day stretch here for Illinois basketball, and just a season-changing win. To get that kind of win, improve to 10-1, take control of the wheel in the Big Ten race along with Michigan, and really set yourself up to make a run at the #1 seed if you can sustain this momentum.
Yeah, no doubt. It just an incredible 8 days for this basketball team, and really a statement 8 days to pick up these 2 wins. I think you entered this stretch when Kylan Boswell went down and said, man, this is a gauntlet of 3 consecutive road games. If you can get one of them, you feel pretty good about that. Illinois has gotten the first 2 of them now, with the third to come next weekend, and they've done it in really impressive fashion. This was a really impressive performance all around from Illinois. For most of the first half, I thought Illinois was in pretty good command of the game. Just Nebraska got so hot there, and the defense broke down for like the last 2.5 minutes of the first half, really got that building going. I'm sure it was there in attendance there. It sounded like it on TV. Just kind of flipped the energy in the place with those 4 threes that Nebraska made to close the first half. Illinois just responded again, came out of halftime, kind of threw that first punch, and from that point forward, pretty much dominated the second half physically, just imposed their will on a Nebraska team that I've watched a good bit of this year. And they don't look physically imposing, but there's almost been no point this year where it's felt like they have just kind of had the will taken out of them from a physical standpoint. I thought Illinois did that in the second half, and Keaton Wagler, you have so much confidence at this point that even if it's a quiet first half, even if he missed some shots, that he's going to come out and be unfazed by it. And this is just a string throughout this stretch. He's had some really loud games, but he's also mixed in there, had some quiet first halves and really loud second halves like this. Just impressive stuff. As a team, this team has proven itself to be one of the best teams in college basketball, firmly in the mix for a Big Ten title. I think Illinois and Michigan separating themselves a little bit as the 2 kind of juggernauts in this conference right now, which should make for a really fun battle down the stretch.
We're live on YouTube. It's the second time today we are, because of the Aaron Henry news. Then Illinois gets a football commit midway through this game, and now Illinois gets another top 10 net road win, a marquee quad 1A victory for Brad Underwood and the Illini. So we'll break down the nitty-gritty of this, but Kyle, I felt like coming into this week, the eye test, Michigan and Illinois felt like the best teams in the Big Ten. So I feel good that they won those games against Michigan State and Nebraska, because it's just watching these teams, they feel like the most imposing. But to come on the road and beat Purdue, and to get punched in the mouth in that game, and to survive it, and then to punch back. And then for this game, like, you get punched in the mouth, 11 threes in that first half. This Nebraska offense is a pain to deal with. And the fact that, you survived it. You got to half only down 6 despite that onslaught. And then you come out of the second half and go on a 13-5 run and reclaim the lead, and then really get that kill shot, that 10-0 kill shot midway through the second half. It's just that this team's made of the right stuff too, Kyle. Like, there's talented teams that don't take control sometimes in road environments like that. And it all starts with Keaton Wagler, but I still think David Mirkovic, the Ivicic twins, Jake Davis, Ben Humrickhouse. I thought Andrei Stojakovic in the second half, but this team is tough. And as you said, it's without Kylan Boswell, kind of their emotional leader on the court. So that's what really stands out. Much of the talent, the offense, it's just when they get punched in the mouth, they punch back, and they have a lot of firepower once they do.
Yeah, they've shown that over these last 2 road wins. It's to not have Kylan Boswell, who I think the underrated thing that you were losing when he went down was just kind of that calm presence, that guy that can keep you composed. We saw it in the early part of January where there was just times in some of those road games where Kylan was kind of the guy that calmed everything down, got you a big bucket, made a big play to kind of just get Illinois back on track. You lose that guy, and the composure of this team in these last 2 road wins has been remarkable. And situations where both games could have really gotten away from them, but you just respond, make plays, make really big, timely shots. Offensively, you just don't let teams get them out of what they want to do. I thought the adjustment was really quick from Illinois in this game. It wasn't the prettiest start offensively in the first half, but you just found what worked with the double big lineup. You found what worked, allowing those bigs with David Mirkovic and Tomislav Ivicic to really turn into facilitators and kind of break down the trapping of Nebraska. And defensively, the response, which we'll talk about here in a minute, I thought was night and day from the last time that we saw these 2 teams play. So just to come into both of these environments the last 2 weekends and to handle themselves the way that this team has, and to stay as composed as they have in tight games that really tough atmospheres and situations and games that could have easily gone poorly and could have easily gotten out of control, just hasn't for this team. They've been so steady and have just found ways to beat these teams, really good basketball teams. And I think they're proven that this is a really tough group.
My theory is this win streak of 11 games is continued, Kyle. I think this is Brad's most talented team. I think it has a chance to be his best team and go as far as any team he has had. Starting to believe that more and more, right? Like that's what it comes down to. Starting to believe that more and more. If you have a super chat, if you got a question or a comment, send those in on our live YouTube channel. Let's get to our hits and misses for this game, Kyle. I do not have many misses for this one. We'd be getting really nitpicky for that, but you mentioned it, defense, right? Joey spoke with Cam Crocker, the Illinois defense coordinator, after this game, got an exclusive with him. Can't wait to see what Joey has cooked up for that story coming up soon at Illini Inquirer. So if you're not a VIP member, sign up now. You can get access to that insight that Joey's going to bring from Cam Crocker, just $1 for the first 2 months. But 1.34 points per possession allowed to Nebraska on December 13th. 7 weeks later, Kyle, without your best player, 1.09 points per possession. With this offense, that's winning basketball for this defense. So huge step forward. Zvonimir Ivicic is a big part of that. Tomislav Ivicic, I thought, was a big part of that. Their ability to control the paint tonight. But also the second half, they started to contest a little bit more. But it's just, we talked about Nebraska. It's not an imposing defense, but it's a connected one. Illinois is starting to look more connected. The communication is just far better. They're covering up for each other when it happens. And teams are going to hit some threes. Like Illinois is more willing to give up open threes this year than they have before. As long as you go out and contest them, they are not giving up anything towards the rim. At one point in the second half, Kyle, it was, I think, 24-4 points in the paint. Like Nebraska barely had any 2-point field goals in this game. So the way they've kind of condensed things again, stopped the switching, certainly has helped. And I know the matchup zone they throw in that first half, and Nebraska really got him on those corners. But what did you see defensively for Illinois to really ramp it up there in the second half?
What you just said, I think it was night and day, a night and day difference from the last time we saw these 2 teams play to this time in terms of communication, execution, connectivity defensively for this Illinois team. With all the mistakes that they made in that first game, I mean, there were so many of them where it was just a busted switch. It was a guy being late to rotate, guy being late to help, losing cutters at the rim, whatever the case may be. I mean, that was kind of rock bottom for this defense, and one that, I mean, you wrote about it coming in. It's kind of a turning point for Illinois, and to come back against the same team this time around without your best perimeter defender out there, your best screen navigator out there, and to put together this defensive performance, especially in the second half, to hold them to 0.97 points per possession. 69 points is tied for the second fewest points Nebraska scored all season long. The only team that's allowed less is Michigan State, who I think has the number 2 defense in the country. So this is one of the more impressive defensive performances that Illinois had. But I just thought it was guys that were really connected and just picking up for each other. There was not very many mistakes. I thought the zone was a nice wrinkle in the first half to just get Nebraska out of rhythm, to take them out of some of their screening and cutting, take away some of the off-ball movement and force them to settle for more threes. I get that they broke down a little bit there at the end of the first half, just in the corner. That was kind of a blind spot for them. Nebraska figured out how to kind of screen those corners and open up shots. But I thought that kind of settled Illinois in. Then in the second half, I just thought man-to-man, they played really well. I thought Andre bounced back in the second half, was really good on Price Sanford. I thought, they just walled off the paint and forced Nebraska to play out on the perimeter. They shut off all the cuts to the rim that have killed teams. They shut off any opportunities inside. There's just such a wall that Illinois can create with their size. When you have the Ivisic twins, Davin Mirkovic, Ben Rickhouse, even your guards and Keaton Wagler and Andre Stojakovic, just so much size. And when Nebraska tried to force it inside, it was Jake Davis at a block, Ben Rickhouse at a block, Tomislav Ivisic at a block. They just couldn't get anything, and it was just forced to settle for some more out of rhythm shots from the perimeter. And Nebraska didn't make as many in the second half after getting hot there. So I just thought, from a team standpoint, it was a really good team defensive performance from Illinois, which you have to have against everything Nebraska throws at you. You just didn't see the mistakes. You didn't see the breakdowns that we saw in the first game. And I think that's the sign of growth that you wanted to see. 11 games later, after all the growth that we've seen since that first meeting, you saw the defensive growth that I think this team has preached since that first meeting.
All right, we got a big-time super chat. Goober, 99.99 super chat. Thank you, man. He said, gents, thanks for all the fine work, I will have to say, and not having the orange and blue glasses. And I think we have the best ball movement in the country. Special stuff. When the big guys were in, the big lineup we'll get into here, but the passing of the Ivisic twins, Mirkovic, Jake Davis, Rickhouse, there wasn't a guard on the court. It was just some of the prettiest ball movement you'll see, Kyle. So when you have that kind of size, that kind of shooting, and that kind of feel, basketball IQ, and the play of the game, even Hoiberg agreed with this, was 53-52, shot clock's running down. Tomislav Ivisic gets thrown the ball, and he just taps it to Jake Davis in the corner. Special stuff.
That was unbelievable.
56-52 in Illinois. That's when they really opened up that run, that 10-0 run that changed the game and it gave them the lead down the stretch. Just unbelievable play. I wanted to give Tomislav Ivisic my star of the game after that, and then Waggler scored like 20 points the rest of the way. So it's really hard to do it. But Tommy was special tonight.
Yeah, Tommy was really good. Just offensively, it was a different performance than what we've seen. I mean, it looked different just because of what Nebraska does. And I thought in the first half was about as well as I've seen a team guard Keaton Wagler all season long. Really, I guess since November, when he's really been put on the ball, I thought Nebraska did the best job that I've seen of anybody. Yet Illinois still finds ways to score because you've got just such great front court guys as decision makers that you can play through. And especially in this matchup, with Nebraska as aggressive as they are and trapping, sending two to the ball, really walling off the paint, no middle, like you need to have bigs who can kind of break that down and move the ball and just facilitate. And Illinois has every single front court guy on the roster could do that at a high level. And, your two starters and Tomislav Ivisic and Davin Mirkovic are really, really good decision makers. And I just thought Illinois did a really, really good job all game long of exploiting Nebraska's rotation because they're constantly in rotation. You just have to move the ball from side to side, keep reading where the help's coming from, making that extra pass, and getting it to the middle of that defense, which those bigs allow you to do, and then play out of it with Jake Davis in the corner, Ben Rickhouse in the corner, Keaton Wagler spotted up off the ball a little bit more. And I just thought the decision-making from really everybody on the floor in this game was really top-notch for Illinois. And that's how you beat this Nebraska defense, which teams have really struggled with. Coming into the game, this was the 9th best defense in the country on KenPom. Fell to 11th after this game. This is a really, really tough defense that's just so principled, so connected, and they force you to really make the right decision every time down or they're going to take advantage. felt like, especially in the second half and in the first half too, with the bigs especially. Illinois just found where the ball needed to go and created really, really high-level shots.
Yeah, and the thing is, they didn't even shoot it all that well from three. They were 9 for 30 tonight, 30%. First game in a while that they haven't made over 10. But they got to the rim, they finished at the rim, and they got to the free throw line. I know at the end you had to draw some fouls, but Keaton drew fouls, like 12 fouls tonight, and you get 21 free throw makes on 26 attempts. You got a plus 17 in free throws. And we've been talking about that for a while now. Just they don't foul, so they're not sending teams to the foul line. And Nebraska doesn't do that anyway. You wrote about that. That was a big advantage for Illinois, but they made the most of it, Kyle. Like, they were the more physical team, got to the rim, got fouled, and then Keaton just shows all the poise of not turning it over in the face of that pressure. So big to find a way to score that many points despite not having one of your best 3-point games. All right, give me one of your hits.
Well, it has to be the guy that just went on the road again, had 28 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 turnovers. Really didn't play well in the first half. Genuinely did not play very well. And I thought, like I said, Nebraska did about as good of a job as I've seen a team do defensively on Keaton Wagler, just making him a little bit uncomfortable. In that first half, goes 2 for 9 from the floor and misses some shots in the paint that he normally makes. But I just thought Nebraska was physical with him, made his touches harder, didn't allow him to get off some of those step back threes, blocked one of them in the first half, which we haven't seen at all from him. And Keaton just comes out at halftime and just totally controls the game in the second half, totally unfazed by it, just really pressured the rim, got the ball inside. It was taking a beating in that game. I mean, Keaton Wagler was on the floor about 15 times, probably could have had more than the 12 fouls that he drew, because there were some that he maybe could have gotten that weren't called, but just forced it into the teeth of a really physical defense that swarms you with multiple guys, and just forced the issue getting to the free throw line late in the game, but also, just making shots that were available to him early in the second half, really getting off to a good start out of halftime. And you can tell when he had that first layup on the first play of the second half, then hit a 3, just settles in and really just takes over the game on the ball. So it's just, it's remarkable, the 2 performances that he's put together. I think I saw a stat, I think from ESPN, that he's the first Division I player in the last 20 years to have 2 career games of 25 or more points in top 5 road wins. He just had 2 of them in 8 days. Like, it's, we'll talk about it. This right now looks like the Big Ten Player of the Year.
Listen, I asked Brad. I knew he wasn't going to like it, but I'm going to write about it, so I figured I got to ask him. No freshman has ever won Big Ten Player of the Year. Right now, with 9 games left, Keaton Wagler should be the front runner for Big Ten Player of the Year. He has made an impact more than any single player, a bigger impact than any single player on this Big Ten race so far. I know we have 9 games to go, but right now he should be the front runner. And that's all due respect to Jeremy Fears Jr., who's great, Yaxel Lendenborg, who's great, Braden Smith, who is great. But I just think this is the guy. Bryce Sanford, phenomenal, great player. I want Keaton Wagler. If I had a draft of Big Ten players, I'm taking Keaton Wagler to help me win a Big Ten championship, because he is one of the main reasons Illinois is in this mix. And it's not to take anything away from the rest of the front court we talked about. This is a great team. But during Big Ten play, Kyle, this freshman is averaging 22 points on 50% shooting, 46.8% from 3. He's averaging 4 rebounds, 5.3 assists, 1.29 turnovers. And he's the best player on the court in 2 road wins at other Big Ten title contenders. So he gets to try to do it again at Michigan State. He gets to try to do it again against Michigan later this month. But as of today, if I were an odds maker, Keaton Wagler should be number 1 for me.
Totally agree with that. And I do think next weekend will be a big one, because you're going up against Jeremy Fears, who is probably the number 2 candidate right now. And so that's going to be a really fun head-to-head battle. I would anticipate that those 2 guys probably guard each other for a good part of that game too, although Illinois might not want to put Waggler on him with the some of the embellishing that he can do and get you in foul trouble quick. But that'll be fun to see that one take place. If Keaton goes in there and does what he's done the last 2 times, I think you're going to start seeing that as a common opinion across the Big Ten of Keaton Wagler being the front runner here for Big Ten Player of the Year.
So Brad might not like it, but I know Keaton can handle this. Like, Keaton can handle all of this, right? The draft talk is even bigger for him, right? he's going to be talked about as like a top 6 draft pick now, right? Like, but Steve says Jeremy Brad might not want to talk about. We sure can. I think Waggler needs to be at the top of the list for Big Ten Player of the Year and maybe All-American. Yes, if you're a Big Ten Player of the Year, you are an All-American. So I am going to continue to tout this. And Kyle, you did it last podcast, and I wrote about it earlier in the week. We need to talk about him like that because other people, other voters, and I'm a voter for Big Ten Player of the Year and all the Big Ten awards, they need to hear about it. And we need to talk about him more like that because it's not just, oh, cute, freshman of the year. No, I think right now he's the best player in the Big Ten. It's crazy.
And I think since December 1st, there's very few players in the country that are playing better basketball than Keaton Wagler. Forget the Big Ten. And there's some talented guys. Cam Boozer's been incredible. I mean, there's a bunch of freshmen.
Give me a guard. Who is the best guard in the country right now?
It's a great
Fleming's.
question. Darren Peterson when he's actually on the floor.
Keaton Wagler's on the court.
Yeah. Keaton might be the best guard in college basketball since December 1st. And you can't totally get rid of November when you're evaluating an entire season, but Keaton Wagler didn't have the ball in his hands for this team. Like his role has changed since Illinois has put the ball in his hands and said, "Hey, you're our leader offensively." He's been maybe the best guard in the country, one of the better players in college basketball. I think absolutely deserving of All-American consideration. Like there's very few players. Talk about a draft of guys. Like forget the Big Ten again. Look throughout the country. How many guys are you drafting to go win you a national title in college basketball than Keaton Wagler right now? It's a very short list. Like this is a guy who, as a guard, can take over a game. But yeah, it's Boozer. I mean, I'm trying to think of Kingston Fleming's been pretty good for Houston. I think Wagler's been a little bit better though. Like I'd have to actually sit down and break it down, but it's unbelievable what he's doing. And just the fact that I truly have not seen a player as in control of the game at all times as I have.
When teams are trying to punk him now, like they're trying to punk him right now, and he don't give a crap. Just doesn't give a crap.
It doesn't matter what teams throw at him. Put 2 on him, you switch him, you body him, you deny him, you face guard him, you beat him up in the paint, you throw him on the ground, you pull his elbow back. That was a dangerous foul, by the way, that Cale Jacobson had on him. Just gets up and just keeps going in there. Like I just have not seen a player, let alone an 18-year-old freshman who turns 19 next week. I haven't seen a player in a long time have this much poise and command of a game at all times as Keaton Wagler, and he just keeps outdoing himself with these performances and these environments and on these stages. The country's starting to take notice of Keaton Wagler, and rightfully so.
Yeah, this is like a meme that was like when Kyle was 4 or 5 years old, but he's like the honey badger, man. He don't care. He don't care. He's gonna go in to the pits, the snake pits of Lincoln and Mackey, and just go kill. That's what he does. So it's been really, really impressive. All right, one more hit before we get to a quick break. That big lineup, man. How fun was that to just see and then to see it execute and really kind of keep Illinois afloat there in that first half and get them a lead at 25-20. But the way they're able to play over the top was Zvonimir Ivicic. When you get Tommy working in the ball screens, you got Keaton, Tommy, and all these good passers, and you can just lob it up for Z as the dunker. Like he's in that dunker spot role, and you can just throw it up there and he can slam it down. So the ability to do that, like Z is he's such a weapon, and defensively, the way he was able to deter people today, I thought was fully on display. Like those guys would see Z and they just turn away and then not be able to get a shot at the rim. But I thought Tommy had one of his best games of the season, just his control, didn't turn it over. I thought he was really good defensively tonight, good on the glass. He's been much tougher, but that's the kind of Tommy you want to see. But to have David Mirkovic be able to bring the ball up and get in your actions, Kyle, and take that off Keaton, and to have a lineup where it's 6'7" Andre Stojakovic, 6'9" David Mirkovic, 6'9" Ben Humrickau, 7'1" Tomislav Ivicic, 7'2" Zvonimir. What an interesting group of players to just throw out there, like a platoon that you could throw out there for 4 or 5 minutes, and a team's got to deal with that. That's insane.
Yeah, it's as unique as any grouping that I think a team has in the country, just with the skill and size that comes with it. There was an action that Illinois ran in the first half where you had David Mirkovic at the ball in his hands, 6'9". Tomislav Ivasic, 7'1", is coming to screen for him as 7'2" Zvonimir Ivasic is sitting in the dunker spot. And as that low man for Nebraska kind of is overplaying the Tomislav pop, David throws a lob over the top to Zvonimir for a dunk. Like, that is an unbelievable thing that you can do as a team with those skill sets between those three guys. And I think you're starting to see this team become a little bit more comfortable with the Twin Towers lineup, which we've seen rolled out there more and more here recently, especially without Kylan. And I think today, first of all, it worked really well today because of how Nebraska's defense plays. That's the ultimate safety valve to stick Zvonimir's length at the back of that defense with how aggressive Nebraska is with their help. Like that, to have David and Tommy playing in the middle of that defense with Zvonimir sitting on the back side is really tough to handle for a team like Nebraska. But I think you're starting to see even defensively, those two guys with their size and length in a zone started to build some more chemistry there. And I just think it's such a unique grouping to throw out there, that especially for a smaller team like Nebraska that just can't physically match it. Like, really the only team in the country that can physically match that group is Michigan, which that'll be fascinating to see.
That showdown's gonna be so much fun, man.
So, but yeah, I thought they really found something with Keaton struggling, with Andre struggling, your guards not playing their best in the first half, really turning your focus towards those bigs and playing those three bigs together in the first half really unlocked something. And that was a key stretch in the game. And I think we're going to start to see it more and more for teams that just can't handle that size and skill. I think it can be pretty effective, as we saw today.
Yeah. All right. We'll get you some of your super chats. We've got some great ones coming up. But before we do that, let's hear from one of our great sponsors.
I know it's the beginning of the year and everyone's looking to get healthier, get in shape for those summer months that are ahead. But a big part of a healthy diet has to be good protein. And where I go for the best meats that you can feel great about eating, but also treat yourself a little bit, is Omaha Steaks. Start the year strong and more delicious with premium portion proteins from Omaha Steaks. They sent me some of their burgers, which are some of the juiciest I've ever had. Their steak, phenomenal. Cooked up some sirloins with my wife, and she goes, wow, this is really, really tender meat. Or you can go with the versatile chicken and pork and more. Omaha Steaks has unmatched variety of high-quality proteins that everyone loves. And right now, you can taste the difference and get an extra $35 off at omahasteaks.com. Promo code Illini at checkout. The Omaha Steaks brand speaks for itself. They've been America's original butcher since 1917. They're a family-owned company with over 100 years of expertise in the meat industry, but I can attest to myself, guys. They sent me some of this meat, mouth-watering burgers, steak, chicken, pork, seafood. They even have dessert. It's easy to prepare, comfort food, but also can match your protein goals in a very healthy diet. So let Omaha Steaks deliver high-quality proteins right to your door. Visit omahasteaks.com. Get an extra $35 off with promo code Illini at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code Illini. Terms apply. See site for details.
All right, Kat, let's get to a few super chats before we get to a couple more of our hits and misses. RBC Bradley, $20 super chat. I think the big lineup gives the rest of the league something to worry about through the Big Ten tournament. Win at Breslin, and we got the upper hand going forward. That second part sure is true. What I do like is you have a lineup that can combat Michigan, as you said, Kyle. Like you have a lineup that can combat. You know, I watch some of these teams, and Arizona.
Yeah.
If you ever have to go play Arizona, you got the size to match up with them. And that's something Brad's first teams really didn't have. The 23-24 team really didn't have. You actually got size to combat those teams.
Yeah, Duke, another one. Like, you look at these top national title contenders. I mean, and we can start, not to get too ahead of ourselves, we can start having those conversations like of some of these elite teams that you could see down the line with what this team has done. But there's kind of a common theme here among a lot of these top tier national title contenders. They got more size than the rest of their team, the teams out there. It allows you to dominate some of these lower level teams, but also just gives you such a nightmare matchup to deal with. But yeah, I think in terms of size and the ability to play big and the ability to pound for pound match some of the bigger, more physical teams in the country, Illinois has the size, but they also have as much skill as any of those teams have with those bigs, which allows you to not only play those big lineups, but have a lot of offensive success and do a lot of different things and be versatile with them. So that's the unique part of what Illinois has, is the skill, the playmaking, the shooting that all this size has, along with being really big. It gives you just so many options, and it allows you to play those lineups for longer stretches and still have success. So it's a really unique but effective formula that is going to be difficult for anybody to deal with.
We got a couple more super chats before we get to that. I thought Andrei Stojakovic's first half was pretty dreadful, but second half I thought he was really good. Defensively, I just thought he was, just more intense with it, more physical with it, and he was able to get to the rim. 8 points, I think, all in the second half there. I also thought Jake Davis making shots, man. Just a big-time shot maker, 3 for 6 from three. He's over 45% or 42% for the year. He's been fantastic as Kylan's been out. Like, offensively, they aren't missing much right now because they're making more threes with Kylan out, and Jake is such a big part of that. And he always wants it. He wants these open shots, and he takes them, and got fouled twice on threes today too. Missed 2 free throws on the first trio there, but those are some big points in this game too from the free throw line. And I just think, Ben, I wish he made some shots tonight. We've said that a lot this year after he'd been shooting it so well. I wish he made some more shots tonight because it felt like he could have, hit a dagger or two. But I think defensively he's really good. People wonder why he was playing over Z. It's defensively, man. He's really good.
Yeah, I thought really all across the board in the second half, you got really good performances outside of some missed shots from Ben. Andre, I was questioning. I texted you guys at halftime. I wasn't sure how much he was going to be able to play in the second half with what he did in the first half. It just seemed like a really bad matchup. Seemed like he just didn't have answers, and Nebraska was really clogging up the paint in his drives and just wasn't making the extra pass enough, and had a couple sloppy turnovers. Just didn't feel like the game for him. Give him credit. He found a way to be really impactful in the second half, had a couple timely cuts, which that's what you need from him in a matchup like this, where, you do need shooting and you do need spacing, but also that Nebraska team is going to leave that baseline open a lot. And if you can just cut to the rim and move without the ball, that's where Andre needs to grow and be more consistent, because that's where he can be really impactful. He did that a few times
2-and-1s tonight, right?
2-and-1s. One of them was on a cut, in which he just found the open space as Nebraska was overplaying, trapping one of Illinois' bigs. Like that's what you need more of from Andre, because I think we're starting to see a shift away from ball in Andre's hands, isolation basketball with Andrei Stojakovic. That's just not how this team's playing right now, with Keaton Wagler doing what he's doing with these bigs, giving you the playmaking that they can give you. That's not what Illinois needs right now offensively. That leaves Andre in a bit of an uncomfortable spot because it's not necessarily utilizing his biggest strength, but you just need him to find a way to give you complementary production. And in the second half, I thought he really found a way to impact the game. Was really, really good on Sanford in the second half too. It wasn't all him. Illinois switched a little bit, but I thought he smothered Sanford, did a lot better job staying attached to him, and Price Sanford had 2 points in the second half, and a lot of that was Andrei Stojakovic. So I thought him in particular really bounced back and found a way to make an impact in the second half.
Yeah, Fox the River, $5 super chat. Anyone hating on Andre is not recognizing what has been asked of him defensively since Boz went out. Big adjustment for him being beyond just an ISO score. Yeah, this whole year. And to be honest with you, the first half, you're like formulating, it's like, man, this was their biggest investment of the offseason, right? Like, and is he the fit for what they should have? And you're watching Price Sanford go off for 12 points in the first half, and that's a guy they really liked. Obviously, they wouldn't have made a big investment as they did in Stojakovic, but he can be a star in that Trey White role, right? Like he can be that. I thought he passed the ball really well. kind of struggled to handle in that first half. A couple of really bad turnovers, but I did think he created for his teammates on some of those drives. He had 3 assists in the first half, 1 in the second half. So to see him have that, that's what I want to see from him, because he knows he's got some good shooters around him. This has been a big adjustment for him, and it hasn't been clean all the time, but that second half I thought was some of his better basketball in the last 3 weeks or so for Andre. You got anything else, hits or misses?
No, I mean, you covered him there. Like, Jake Davis is just really valuable for this team. Like, he's just playing his role unbelievably well, and it just fits perfectly in what you need alongside everybody else you have playing off of Waggler, off of Mirkovic, off of Ivasic. Just spot Jake Davis up in the corner and allow him to make shots at a high level. Allow him to, I think the most impressive thing about Jake is the way that he fills space offensively too. He's not just standing still. He's always moving to the right spot, making himself available, filling the corners, filling on the wings. Like he's moving well. He's just really smart and savvy in who he is as an off-ball floor spacer that just fits so perfectly around everybody else, while also defensively, like, he had a really impressive block, just plays his role well, doesn't make mistakes, just battles, has size and length that can bother teams, especially when he's guarding smaller guards like Hoiberg and Jamarcus Lawrence in this game. I keep
saying it, Jake Davis and Benham Murkhouse are the best transition defenders. Like, they always seem to get a stop. Like, they wall up so well, they get vertical, and they don't foul. It's pretty amazing how they do it.
It is, yeah, but he's really, both those guys have been stars in their role this year, other than Ben missing more shots than you would like to. He started to make more until today, but those guys are just playing their role at an unbelievably high level. That's what you need on a championship level team with a bunch of stars, a bunch of on-ball guys. You just need the guys who aren't high maintenance, don't need the ball, but can just still make an impact every night, know who they are, play that to a T almost every single night. Those two guys are doing it at a really high level, and you just have to have that on a team like this.
A couple more super chats. $10 from Paul. More than any Underwood team I can remember, this one has made the proper adjustments to address insufficiencies half to half and now game to game. What did they do today to limit Samford's impact? When both Ivasic's were in, people were asking why Zvonimir didn't play a lot and Ben did. When both those guys were in, they kind of attacked that corner. That's a struggle for those guys to get out a little bit. So they got Ben in a little bit more, and that helped contest on those guys and chase those guys around. But I think it was just a lot of connectivity and communication for the most part. That's what Brad and the players were mostly saying.
Yeah, and I think the thing about playing the Twins together is you kind of have to play zone when they're in. Like, it's just, especially against a team like Nebraska. I think there's matchups where you can play man-to-man, but against Nebraska and all their movement, you just can't really play man with those two guys in the game, or one of them is going to be put in a lot of screening action, be forced to chase. So Illinois really went to the zone in the first half with both those guys in. It was effective for a large stretch. Then Nebraska started settling in against it, kind of exploiting one of those guys, opening up the corners. And I think Illinois realized we probably can't rely on the zone in the second half as much, because Nebraska seemed to kind of figure out the answer at the end of the first half. And knowing that, I just don't think you could really afford to play those two guys together. I think Ben was a better fit in being able to move a little bit better and play out on the perimeter. So I think that's really where that decision came from. But I think there will be times where you can get away with it more. But I think they kind of realized that they had to move away from the zone, and therefore Zvonimir's minutes were limited.
All right, we'll do one quick break, and after that, we'll get to the final super chats we got. If you have any more, get those in now, and then we'll wrap it up looking ahead to another big week of Big Ten play for a Big Ten contender, with Illinois improving to 10-1, 11 straight wins for this team. We'll do that after the break.
The one thing about a lot of deodorants, guys, is it just covers up the smell for just a portion of the day. Well, Mando sent me their starter pack of products, and I can tell you, you can have confidence when using Mando products. They're going to smell good the entire day and not have to constantly reapply. And Mando is a whole body deodorant. It's safe to use everywhere on your body, from your head to your toes, because it is created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO is being misdiagnosed and mistreated. And Mando is clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 70 2 hours. I like their solid deodorant stick. It's formulated and powered by mandelic acid to stop odor before it starts. You can try their spray deodorant as well. All their products are baking soda free and paraben free, and you can choose from a variety of scents like bourbon leather, cloverwood, Mount Fuji, or Pro Sport. Some men mask their BO with scents. Mando men get the job done right. Don't mask it, Mando it. It is available in retailers near you, or head to shopmando.com, because for a limited time, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use Illini at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. That's shopmando.com. Use code Illini for 20% off site-wide and free shipping.
All right, wrapping things up. Ricky, $10 super chat. Just believe in Brad. It's been a strong year for him. Roster building, reaction, or the response to the Nebraska loss the first time around, Kyle. Being able to challenge his team the way he did. I think that Nebraska loss is the best thing for this team. And now it's easy to say that as they won 11 straight games since then. But this team's connected. They seem to be built to the right things. Obviously, the Keaton Wagler evaluation, I don't know if he and his staff will ever have a better one when it comes to that. But just the roster construction, the ability to go land the guys that you want, and just some adjustments they've made game to game. I mean, this was a pretty ISO-heavy team early in the year with Andrei Stojakovic and Colin Boswell kind of running the point, and then he put the ball in Keaton Wagler's hands, and then look what's changed with this team. So, yeah, been a very strong year for Brad Underwood, obviously. He belongs in the Big Ten Coach of the Year conversation as well, an award he hasn't won yet to this point.
I know. Is this the year that he can finally get a deserved Big Ten Coach of the Year? I think it's going to go to Fred Hoiberg, and he deserves it. He deserves to be right at the top there with what he's done with this Nebraska team, but Brad deserves one of those, and can't get it this year. You almost wonder if he can ever get one. He's done a great job. I mean, it's been arguably maybe his best coaching job that he's done so far. Obviously, a lot to play out. Obviously, the tournament is going to be where a lot of conclusions are drawn, and we'll get to that point. But this is as impressive of a stretch outside of that February, March run for the 2020-21 team, I think, that one of his teams has had. And to do it while getting thrown a wrench right in the middle of it with one of your best players, your senior leader in Colin Boswell going down with a longer-term injury, and to not skip a beat at all, to go into 2 top 5 road venues and to play the way that they have. I just think since that Nebraska lost the first time, he and the entire staff and the players, of course, have just gotten to a point where it's a really connected unit and a team that just feels like it's one that's playing together as much as any Illini team that we've seen. And you've kind of molded everything into place. I think roles have been identified kind of perfectly as early in the season as I can remember. And there's such a rhythm that this team is in right now that, we've seen January be, early February be times in the past where you've had disappointing losses or you've had bumps in the road. This team just hasn't run into one. So I think Brad deserves a ton of credit for that.
We were talking before we started this podcast, like best 10-day stretch for Brad Underwood's tenure. I don't know. I mean, taking out the Big Ten tournaments, right? Because that's 3 in 3 days and you win them. But even taking into account those, like the Iowa, Ohio State wins in 2021 were great. You beat Rutgers as well, which is a pretty decent team then. I think it's hard to beat going to Wisconsin, Michigan, and Ohio State in 21, like all top 15 KenPom teams, like all legitimately great teams. I don't know if anything can ever beat that.
2 of those 3 were without Io, right?
Yes. And then we talked about the 24, like postseason run. You played some good teams. You didn't play a lot of great teams outside of Iowa State. Like Wisconsin was number 17 in the compound by the end of the year. Nebraska was 30. This is probably the second best 10-day stretch I can think of the Brad Underwood era, because again, to get 2 of your 3 top 5 road wins in his tenure and take care of business at home against a talented Washington team, like it's one of the best 10-day stretches certainly of his tenure here. So, and it just puts you in all these different conversations of, yeah, you are, along with Michigan, one of the 2 best teams in the Big Ten to this point. A couple super chats. Arthur, $5 super chat. Rebounding, free throws made the difference tonight. Absolutely. And this is a phenomenal rebounding team, right? Like to come in here and punk Nebraska, which I think is a pretty tough team, 40-27. tells you a lot about how like efficiently you got to the foul line because you didn't have a lot of rebounding opportunities there, but also it's just you were more physical. Like you had 11 offensive rebounds. Nebraska had 21 defensive rebounds. Like their ability to get 30 to 40% of their misses, Kyle, that makes for really efficient offense, especially when you're a pretty good shooting team too.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the keys I wrote coming in that, I think both these teams will make some shots. You can talk about some of the X's and O's things, and ultimately I think those are going to be pretty close. Team that wins these games, usually the one that wins the physicality battle, that finds the margins to create advantages, and those are usually offensive glass, free throw shooting, two areas this team's elite at. And every night seems like they win those margins, which is just so important. They did it against Purdue. You come into tonight, a Nebraska team that Illinois is first in the country in lowest foul rate. Nebraska entered play sixth in the country in lowest foul rate, 26 free throw attempts for Illinois. And I know a few of them were late, but Keaton Wagler was getting there. Illinois was finding ways to get there, to outscore Nebraska 21-4 at the free throw line, to get 11 offensive rebounds on a team that entered play in the top 40 in defensive rebounding, and to punk them on the glass, like you said, a team that, they're not super physically imposing, but that front court's good rebounding front court. It's a team that has survived on the glass and has just been tough and fundamentally sound. And Illinois just physically beat them up. And like I said, I've watched Nebraska so much this year, and it just seems like that team never gets overmatched physically, despite what they look like. They were overmatched physically by Illinois in this game in their home building, and Illinois has been doing that consistently to teams.
This is probably one of the better days for Illinois fans who had been wanting a defensive coordinator change, had been wanting a national championship team. And you get Aaron Henry is out. You have Illinois winning men's basketball, getting a top 5 road victory. And Illinois women's basketball just completed a top 25 road victory at Washington, 75-66. Ciara Parchment is an unbelievable freshman. Joey's going to write something on her very shortly. 23 points, 10 rebounds in that win. Barry Wallace, 23 points. Destiny Jackson, 11. I was telling Joey in the ride here, Parchment and Wallace are probably the two most talented players I've seen at Illinois since Jenna Smith. Like, there's some decent players, but those two are really talented. So to get that road victory, they needed another great win to get to the NCAA tournament. That's a great win, and they can just take care of business. Some of the games they're supposed to win. That's an NCAA tournament team, which is an unbelievable job. Like, you could argue Shauna Green, coaching job she's done is as impressive as anything that's happened in this athletic department, maybe outside of Mike Small. So shout out to Illinois women for getting the win too. We'll give them some more focus on the podcast here coming up. One more super chat, $5 of slow motion, 217. How much do they miss Boswell? Are we ready to compare Waggler to Illini's all-time greats? They miss Boswell. Defensively, They still miss him, right? Like that first half, like you miss having that guy because you have to put Waggler and Stojakovic on there. They're not as good. Like, I thought Waggler had one of his better defensive games, getting into gaps, and like he's starting to get more aggressive with his deflections and things like that. But still, Boswell is a bulldog. Offensively, I don't think you miss him much, Kyle, because you're getting free throws, you're shooting better, but defensively, you still miss him. I still want that guy on my team, obviously, and he's going to make a huge impact when he returns. Are we ready to compare Waggler to the Illini all-time greats? Yeah, we've done it. We've done it. I think his season is as good as Terrence Shannon and Io's years, like All-American years. I think Waggler's having a season that's on that tier.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. If he ends up winning Big Ten Player of the Year, that'll be the first one since D. Brown, right? Like that, Io and Terrence never won it. So, like, this is, it'll be right up there. And it wasn't necessarily those two guys' fault that they didn't win it, because Io was playing alongside Luka Garza, Terrence was Zach Edey. So I'm not saying that gives him a leg up on those guys, but it would just speak to the season that he's put together. Yeah, I think this is as impressive of an individual season that I've seen here, and that's with Io DeSumo, Kofi Coburn, and Terrence Shannon all putting up incredible individual seasons. Keaton's right up there with those guys with the performances that he's put together in these places against these teams. Just special stuff. He's gonna, by the end of this season, I think there's gonna be some really fun conversations had about what this kid has done compared to some past Illini players.
Kudos to Brad. We keep having those conversations. Like Io, Kofi, Terrence, now Keaton Wagler. Pretty amazing. And even, having freshmen like Will Riley and Kasper Sakashonis, like the freshman seasons they had were some of the best freshman seasons we've ever seen. And now Keaton's having the best freshman season we've seen, and it's one of the best seasons we've seen from an Illini player ever. Northwestern on Wednesday. Take care of business, Kyle. That's another one of those games, just like Maryland at home, Minnesota at home. Take care of business at home. Washington last week. Doesn't mean it's always going to be pretty. Northwestern's bad. Outside of Martinelli, that's just not a very good team. You took care of business on the road. Northwestern, I think Illinois beat them 9 straight times at home. So keep doing that. Set up a huge game at Michigan State. Physical team, not as talented, not as good offensively, but you're going to have to bring your riot gear for that one, right? That Michigan State's going to bring the fight to you. And I like that Keaton Wagler has gotten a little prepared for that. But this is going to be another level. There's another level for Keaton Wagler, David Mirkovic, Ivisic guys. That front court's really physical, and Jeremy Fears Jr.'s he's an instigator, man. I love having him on my team, but he's going to annoy people. He's going to annoy people in that game, and he's really good.
Yeah, and if you're Illinois, for as good of it as you've been all season long at not fouling, he's going to try. He is going to try to bait Keaton Wagler into committing some cheap fouls by dribbling backwards into him or flailing his head backwards. Or you got to be ready for that. Like you got to know that that's coming, and you can't afford to have Waggler or Stojakovic, whoever it is, be on the bench because Jeremy Fears has kind of gotten to them with some of the things that he does. But also, I mean, he's playing at a really, really high level and he's as good of a passer and a playmaker as there is in college basketball. I think he might be in the top 2 in assist rate in the country, I think, with Braden Smith maybe. But he just controls the game too. He's the guy that creates for that offense because they don't really have a lot of other offensive creators on that team. It's really him and ball screens, and that's kind of what they do, but he's so good at it. Gets into the paint, gets to the free throw line. It's going to be really fun to see 2 of the best point guards in the Big Ten, 2 of the better point guards in the country go at it, 2 of the top Big Ten player of the year candidates. Like that's all you can ask for. And I have a lot of confidence that Keaton's going to just approach it with the same mentality that he's always done. And, Jeremy Fears an emotional guy. Keaton Wagler's not going to be. I can promise you that. He's going to go in there, just do what he does. I can't wait to see that. But, yeah, in terms of a physical battle, this is as much of one as you'll see all season long. This is a really physical team, really physical front court that's going to challenge this front court, which has a lot more skill than Jackson Kohler and Carson Cooper do. But in terms of rebounding and just pound for pound being physical, those guys will beat you up, and this front court's got to be ready for that. So I think it's going to be fun. It's the number 1 offense in the country against the number 2 defense in the country in a game between 2 teams near the top of the Big Ten. We just keep getting treated to these. So I can't wait.
Love it.
I can't wait to be there for that one.
Big Ten title race. Illinois is right at the front of it. One last one. $10 super chat from 33. Appreciate all you guys' support today. Great stuff as always. Coming in late, but curious on Andre's plus minus first and second half. Second half was a huge improvement. Yeah, he kind of mirrored the rest of the team. He was a -8 in the first half, which most of the team outside of Svanimir were. Svanimir was, I think, a +10 in the first half. Andre was a +11 in the second half, which was right in the mix of the team. He obviously had a role in that, Kyle, but nothing too crazy outside of the rest of the team. But certainly he played better overall in the second half and was a big part of the team playing better overall in the second half. Any final thoughts, Kyle, before we get out of here?
Oh, I enjoy this basketball team because it's really, really good. It's really, really fun to watch. This is as impressive a stretch as any team has had outside of Arizona and Michigan in the country. It's one of the hottest teams in the country playing really good basketball, setting themselves up to have an extremely fun February and March with some high-level matchups. Cannot wait, by the way, and this is looking way far ahead, but that Michigan game here in Champaign, that might be one of the more exciting matchups that Illinois has played in 20 years. I mean, here's my thing. I would challenge Illinois fans here. All right? Like, you saw Mackey. Yes.
You saw Matt. Like, that crowd is insane. And the fact that this Illinois team can handle that's awesome. But, like, they helped Purdue get that early lead. I think Nebraska's crowd helped Nebraska get an early lead. They were a phenomenal fan base that was all into it the entire game, trying to will the team back into it. I think Illinois has been passed up by a few teams here. So I'm just saying, Like, that State Farm Center needs to be buzzing for this team because they deserve it, and they deserve – it's a good atmosphere. It's a great atmosphere at State Farm Center. I think it can be better. I think the noise consistency, the intensity can be a little bit better. So, I mean, they're going to need it with hosting some of these big games. This team has shown it can be road warriors, Kyle. We didn't even mention it. 6-0 on the road in the Big Ten. But at home, you lost to Nebraska earlier this week. You can't afford another letdown. I'm really looking at those Wisconsin-Indiana games. Like, those aren't easy ones, and you're going to need your crowd to be ramped up for that one. And then, of course, I don't think we need to tell them to be ramped up for Michigan. That's going to be potentially ugly a little bit with Merez Johnson Jr. returning to State Farm Center and Big Ten title probably on the line. But I really think, I know Northwestern this week, you got to bring energy, but those Wisconsin-Indiana games, like, those teams are frisky, and they're going to need the home crowd to come out.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think State Farm Center has still been, at least since I've been in school, still been a pretty awesome environment for the big games, like the Purdue at the end of last year, when Tennessee came in, Texas Tech earlier this year. I thought those were really good environments. I think
whenever Iowa comes to town,
whenever Iowa comes to town, I think it's more the night to night consistency when you've had Maryland, Washington, Northwestern this week, even the Wisconsins and Indianas. I think that's where it's maybe gotten a little more stale in some of these just sleepier spots, to where you look at Purdue, Michigan State, Nebraska, like, these places are bringing it every single night. I think Illinois can get a little bit better. I don't have any concerns that Michigan game is going to be an electric atmosphere there, but I think some of these other home games, like, really Illinois' best performances this year have been on the road. Some of the slower, sluggish first halves have been at home in some of these games. I think you'd like to cement yourself as one of the toughest places to play in the Big Ten. And so you'll have a chance to here in February with some big home games, and you need that to make a difference, because it has made a difference for these other teams. Illinois withstood it, but that can be a big advantage for you.
And it's not just students, you got to bring it. It's for you guys who remember the 89 Final Illini, like, all you that lived through that, like, you need to bring it too. Like, because you guys know what special teams look like. And this team's got the look of a potentially very, very special team and a very, very special season. All right. Thank you for listening to the Illini Inquirer podcast. Give us a follow, rating, review wherever you get your podcast. More than 900 people. We almost reached 1,000 on this live YouTube channel today. On your way out, hit that like
real
button.
Quick.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Jeremy. I would be remiss if I didn't say that. I know you've been working your butt off, but happy birthday.
Appreciate that. But everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching wherever you watch us. For Kyle Tausk, I'm Jeremy Werner. Everybody have a great day. Take care of each other, and we will talk to you next time right here on the Illini Inquirer podcast.
Bye, everybody.